I'm Mariam Namazi in Doha. The main stories on Al Jazeera. The prime suspect in the Philippines massacre, in which at least 57 people were killed, has turned himself into the police. But Andal Ambuchan Jr., who's also a local mayor, denies any involvement. Al Jazeera has been speaking to a man who says he was hired for the murders. He says he witnessed the events and that it was Ambuchan Jr. who gave the orders.
We were more than 100 men. Their convoy was black, then brought to the mountains. In the mountains, there were already big excavations where the bodies were going to be thrown after the women were raped. I was just standing there. I was all alone. I could only leave it up to my conscience. Well, I didn't have a watch, but I felt it was about 2 hours or at least more than 1 hour. We didn't get to finish, which is why the excavator was left there. Someone called and said soldiers were on the way. I feel they have connections among the soldiers.
Germany's top soldier has resigned after accusations the military withheld information about an airstrike in Afghanistan. The airstrike in KUNDUZ province in September killed at least 100 people, many of them civilians. German troops called it in after the Taliban hijacked 2 petrol tankers, but villagers had already rushed to help themselves to fuel when the missiles hit. The head of the International Criminal Court says he wants to investigate the violence that ripped through Kenya after the elections in 2007. Luis Marino Ocampo says he believes that crimes against humanity were committed. Up to 1,500 people died in a wave of tribal killings. China has set its first ever target to cut greenhouse gas emissions, but it's linking the reductions to economic growth. It says it wants to reduce its carbon intensity by up to 45% by 2020. And millions of pilgrims have clambered onto Mount Arafat to spend the day in prayer. It's the most important ritual of the Hajj, and after torrential rains on Wednesday, pilgrims are now having to deal with scorching heat. The rains caused floods that have killed 48 people across Saudi Arabia. And remember, you can find the latest on all those stories and more at aljazeera.net/English.